The memory lingers vivid and sharp, like the metallic taste that flooded my senses upon discovering the truth. That unique taste of treachery, reminiscent of copper coins resting on my tongue. In the heart of our home, I found myself in the kitchen, in the heart of our home, gazing intently at the words on his screen. After 6 years of shared moments, Mark brought it all to a close with just 11 words. I'm at my limit with this. My heart has found a new tale to tell. I remained silent. My phone remained untouched in my hand. As I stood there, the chill of the tile pressed against my bare feet, a moment unfolded around me, observing my hands tremble as they clutched the counter. As the snowflakes danced down from the sky, a serene blanket of white began to cover the world outside. It was one of those profound December snowfalls that blankets the world in a serene hush. Silence envelops the space. It felt as if the entire universe paused, eager to witness my next move. How do you navigate the instant when everything you envisioned for your future disappears? That morning, I found myself holding his freshly pressed dry cleaning, a small piece of the day's unfolding narrative I had just picked up. His favorite coffee table book as a Christmas surprise. I had simply adored him. Absolutely. Is that you, Rebecca? Hours later, my sister's voice on the phone carried a weight of worry. How are you doing? For 8 months now, he's been involved with someone I mentioned. My voice carries an unusual tranquility. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Vanessa. She is employed at his company, that scoundrel, she murmured. In that moment, joy bubbled up within me, a chilling echo that sent shivers down my spine. It's amusing to think about how aware I was. There was a whisper within me that always understood the nights that lingered on the unexpected journeys for work. It was as if a curtain had fallen between us, the spark of connection dimming with each passing moment. What I kept from my sister was that 3 weeks prior, I had embarked on an unexpected journey. After yet another solitary evening spent anticipating Mark's return from work, I found myself accepting an invitation for drinks with James, Mark's closest companion. Since their college days, James gazed at me with the same intensity that Mark once did. James, the one who truly heard my words. James, the one who illuminated my world and made me feel truly acknowledged after such a long time. Once upon a time, there was a single night, a moment of weakness. That was my belief, at least. My sister announced her arrival. Absolutely not, I responded. I seek solitude at this moment. Once the call ended, I strolled through our apartment, my fingers grazing over every piece of our shared life. The throw pillows that sparked our lively debate at IKEA, the snapshots from our adventure in Belize, the absurd ceramic rooster he had brought back from a client meeting. I pondered what treasures he might choose to carry along on his journey. I pondered whether Vanessa would chuckle at the rooster or see it as delightful. When Mark finally returned home that night, his expression resembled that of a condemned man approaching his fate. He was taken aback by my unexpected calmness. For how long have you been aware? He inquired, letting his keys clatter onto the entry table. What can you share about you and Vanessa? Or perhaps it's about your intentions to depart. His eyes grew large with wonder. Her name was familiar to you. I know what I'm talking about, Mark. Even though it's evident that you believe I am. He sank into our couch with a weighty presence. The one we had set aside our hard-earned savings for over half a year to purchase. It was never my intention to cause you pain. Well, the endeavor didn't quite go as planned, I remarked, taken aback by the sharpness in my tone. Rebecca, if you would be so kind. What's the gravity of the situation? I interjected. He gazed down at his hands, lost in thought. We're embarking on a new chapter together. In the coming month, the ground appeared to shift under my feet. In the coming month, have you discovered a spot yet? His quietude spoke volumes. Were you ever planning to share this with me? Or would you have just vanished one day while I was at work? It was never meant to unfold this way. He murmured, his voice trembling. It was never my intention to let my heart be captured by her. As I strolled to the window, I observed the snow gently covering the city like a soft white quilt. Have you ever thought about what the most challenging aspect might be? For the past year, I've been on a journey pondering whether there was something amiss within me. I felt inadequate. I realized I had to put in more effort, strive for improvement. Discover the reasons behind your gradual departure. It's not about you. I interrupted him. Don't even think about suggesting it's not me. It's all about you. We both understand that's not the truth. He found himself in tears now. It ought to have stirred something within me, contentment, sorrow, whatever it may be. Yet there was an emptiness within me. He finally revealed that he would be spending the night at James's. Allow you some room. Once upon a time, there was a character named James. The name struck me with the force of a sudden impact. James, who had embraced me 3 weeks ago when I was overwhelmed by my crumbling relationship. James, whose kindness briefly eased the loneliness within me. No, I replied in a hurry. I'm heading over to my sister's place. It's time to begin the journey of gathering your belongings. I need you to be gone by the weekend. As I tossed garments into a travel bag, as I glanced into the mirror, a familiar reflection greeted me. I appeared transformed in some way, rougher in texture. The woman who had held on to the notion of eternity was no longer present, replaced by a figure unfamiliar to me. At that moment, I had no idea what the unfolding weeks had in store for me. It was unexpected when my period chose not to show up. Little did I realize that a simple plastic stick would bring forth news that would alter the course of everything. Unbeknownst to me, the little life developing within me was not the child of the man who had just broken my heart, but rather that of his closest companion. As I stepped into the snow that night, I had no idea that this conclusion was merely the start of my journey. The initial month following Mark's departure felt like a haze of automatic actions, rise and shine. Let me share a little moment of refreshment labor. Return to a space that seemed to stretch endlessly. It feels quite barren. Reiterate. My colleagues moved cautiously around me as if I were something fragile that could break at any moment. Once upon a time, my friends who are married began to leave me out of their dinner gatherings. Even my sister, after the initial fury on my behalf, appeared uncertain about how to navigate this new, more subdued version of me. I steered clear of James entirely. His text messages lingered, in silence, waiting for a response that never came. His calls went unanswered. Confronting him felt impossible. We were unable to confront the reality of our actions. It felt unrefined and untouched. It's a bit intricate. But then the unsettling feeling began to creep in. Morning sickness is a deceptive term. The sickness washed over me throughout the day, crashing like relentless waves, leaving me feeling dizzy and utterly drained. I pointed fingers at stress until I reached my limit. Until the calendar on my phone nudged me to reflect on the passage of time, days turned into weeks, until I found myself in a pharmacy bathroom stall gazing at 2 pink lines that appeared to throb with an almost electric brilliance, expecting a new arrival. As I sank to the floor, the cool tiles met me, my legs giving way beneath me. The floor was icy to the touch, likely harboring untold layers of grime, yet I found myself unable to budge, expecting a new arrival. And not with Mark's little one. It had been quite some time since we shared any closeness before he departed. This was the offspring of James. This felt utterly unachievable. With trembling hands, I reached out to my doctor, so I decided to take a day off from work. James never received a call from me. Just 2 days later, with the weight of medical confirmation settling in, I strolled by a coffee shop and caught sight of them through the window. In a cozy corner of the cafe, Mark and Vanessa shared a moment. Her hand resting gently on his arm as laughter danced between them, she possessed an enchanting beauty. Absolutely, she was, with a grace that seemed to flow naturally, a quality I had always envied in others, but never managed to embody. I found myself rooted to the sidewalk, observing them. They gazed, united in purpose, as if they were part of something deeper that Mark and I had never experienced. As if aware of my arrival, Mark lifted his gaze. As our gazes locked through the transparent barrier, a tale began to unfold. His smile wavered for a moment, then faded into nothingness. He spoke to Vanessa, who glanced my way with a look of intrigue rather than hostility. She was a stranger to me. To her, I was merely an unfamiliar face gazing in from the outside. I chose not to linger and discover what unfolded next. I stepped back, my heart racing wildly within me. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the sound of my doorbell echoed through the quiet evening. The moment I approached the door, I felt a familiar presence. It was Mark waiting on the other side. "You look terrible," he remarked, his gaze sweeping over my wan complexion and the shadows that lingered beneath my eyes. "What brings you to this place?" He squirmed in his seat, a hint of unease flickering across his face. "Today our paths crossed. I noticed something was off, and I wanted to check in on you." A sharp chuckle slipped from my lips. "That's quite amusing, Mark. You shatter my world and then come around to see if I'm all right. Is that you, Rebecca?" All that I had. I poured out my thoughts, spilling forth before I could catch them. 6 years have passed. I stood by your side during your journey through law school. I relocated to a new city to pursue your career. I envisioned a whole life built around us, and you discarded it as if it meant nothing at all. His expression twisted into a pained grimace. It was something. "You were never anything." So what made me fall short? As I reached the final word, my voice faltered and a wave of self-disgust washed over me. It was infuriating that despite everything, he still had the power to make me feel so insignificant. "I made a mistake," he whispered, his voice barely rising above the silence. For one chilling instant, I feared he would utter the words that he wished to return. Vanessa was the misstep in the tale, and in that instant it dawned on me just how deeply I wished to avoid that, how much I was unable to turn back. "Where did it all go wrong?" I inquired. "How did you navigate the experience of falling for her?" He remained silent. "Is James aware of your presence here?" I inquired unexpectedly. Mark's eyes widened in astonishment. "James, is that you?" "Absolutely not." "Why would he?" His gaze sharpened. "Have you had a chance to chat with James?" The twist of fate almost brought a chuckle to my lips. "No, in fact, it's been a while since our paths crossed after your departure." "He's been inquiring about you," Mark said with a measured tone, "mentioning that he's attempted to get in touch, but you haven't replied." I averted my gaze, unable to face him directly. "I prefer not to engage with him. I prefer not to engage with your friends." Mark paused, lost in thought. James finally spoke up, expressing his belief that I had made the gravest error of my life. "It's been weeks since he last spoke to me, ever since I shared the news about Vanessa." A strange sensation coiled within me. James stood by my side, unwavering, even at the expense of his longest-held bond. James unaware of the journey that awaited him into fatherhood. "I urged you to go," my voice heavy with fatigue. "This isn't the right moment for me." Mark paused for a moment, then gave a slight nod. "I sincerely apologize for any hurt I may have caused. As for the conclusion, you were worthy of more." With the door softly clicking shut, my hand found its way to my stomach, a reflex born from the moment's weight. You were worthy of so much more, indeed I did. And thus, this little one embarked on their journey. James did as well. Just 2 days later, a message from Mark arrived, causing my world to shift once more. "I wanted to share this with you directly. Vanessa and I have taken a beautiful step together as we are now engaged. It moves quickly, I understand. Yet once you have that understanding, it becomes clear. I wish for a day when you can share in our joy." I gazed at those words until they became a haze. For 6 long years by my side, he remained blissfully unaware. After 8 months by her side, he felt an unwavering certainty. The ring I had longed for, dreamed of, now adorned another's hand. On that fateful night, I made the decision to reach out to James. "Is that you, Rebecca?" His voice carried a sense of caution laced with hope. "I've been filled with concern for you. I must see you," I insisted. My hand resting on my smooth abdomen, "I have a tale to share with you." James's expression when I shared the news about the baby was a whirlwind of feelings that I couldn't even begin to tally. Surprise, astonishment, unease. And then it happened so slowly that I nearly overlooked it. Delight, a radiant happiness that reshaped his expression, causing a sharp ache in my heart. "A tiny one," he murmured. His gaze was locked onto my abdomen as though he possessed the ability to peer beyond flesh and sinew to the delicate existence blossoming within our little one. This response took me by surprise. I had braced myself for fury, for blame regarding the timing and dishonesty. I had prepared myself for inquiries about my confidence in it not belonging to Mark. But James simply took my hand, his eyes glistening with emotion. "I understand this isn't the way you envisioned beginning a family," he remarked. "Your heart is on a journey of healing. But, Rebecca, my heart has been yours for years now, long before you and Mark ever became a couple." The revelations left me speechless, as if I had just stepped into a tale that turned everything I knew upside down. I kept quiet because he noticed you before me, and then a beautiful journey unfolded for you both. I only wished for your happiness. He grasped my hand tightly. "I share this with you, not to create any pressure. I want to share with you that this little one, though a surprise, is truly the most wonderful blessing I could ever imagine." I arrived at his apartment, bracing for twists and turns, but departed with an inexplicable sensation. A glimmer of possibility, delicate, yet unwavering. We decided to embrace a gradual approach, allowing ourselves the chance to discover one another beyond the influence of Mark. And we decided to keep the news of the pregnancy from Mark, not at this moment. As James walked me to my car, I shared the news with him, saying, "He's engaged." For Vanessa James's jaw clenched. "Wow, that happened in the blink of an eye." "It seems that when you truly understand, you just do," I remarked, struggling to hide the resentment in my tone. In a hushed tone, James expressed, "He never deserved you. For years I observed him overlook your worth." It broke my heart. As the weeks unfolded, my body transformed, and so did my emotions. As the waves of nausea faded away, a fresh surge of vitality emerged, ready to unfold new chapters. I transformed my apartment, wiping away every memory of Mark. With determination, I dedicated myself to my tasks, ultimately achieving the promotion I had been striving for over the past 2 years. And I let myself descend gently and with intention into my feelings for James. He embodied all the qualities that Mark lacked: engaged, focused, confident. Where Mark had captivated with his charm, yet focused on himself, James offered a depth of consideration and generosity. He was there for each and every doctor's appointment. On weekends, he transformed the nursery with his brushstrokes. His gaze met mine, truly connecting as I shared my thoughts. 4 months into my pregnancy, an invitation arrived, opening the door to a new chapter in our journey. A cream-colored envelope adorned with elegant gold embossing, marking the celebration of Mark and Vanessa's union. My hands shook with anticipation as I absorbed the words. So they extended an invitation to us. Are we both in this together? James inquired, his disbelief evident. It seems that way. I placed the invitation on the counter, wary as if it could spring to life. What's the reason behind it? Perhaps they are attempting to approach the situation with a sense of maturity, offer a gesture of peace. I gently shook my head, a silent response to the unfolding narrative. Mark meticulously considers every possibility before taking action. Every tale has its purpose. As the night unfolded, my sister reached out with a call. "Did you hear the tale?" she inquired directly without any introduction. "Have you seen the wedding invitation?" "Absolutely." "How are you doing?" I pondered the inquiry. Half a year ago, receiving this invitation would have broken my spirit. Now it was merely a collection of pages. "I'm doing well, really, lost in a whirlwind of thoughts." "Well, I've got a little tale to share," she said, her voice lowering to a whisper. While working out at the gym, I unexpectedly crossed paths with Mark's cousin. It seems that Mark's family isn't too pleased with this fast-paced love affair. His mother harbors a deep sense of doubt. Her affection for you was unwavering. It seems like this invitation reflects his journey towards a positive new chapter in his life. Do you see what I mean? My former partner is attending my wedding. All are grown and doing well. I chuckled, truly entertained. So I'm just a character in his story of a healthy breakup. In essence, once the call ended, I settled onto my couch, my hands gently resting on my noticeable baby bump. An idea started to take shape in my thoughts, not one created from ill intent, but from a profound yearning for understanding. Mark had woven a tale in which he portrayed himself as the hero, someone who had innocently found love anew in his version. Our separation was a shared decision, filled with goodwill, and I was the gracious former partner wishing him nothing but happiness. The moment had arrived for the true tale to unfold. The following morning, I reached out to James. I believe attending the wedding would be a wonderful idea, I suggested. A silence lingered in the air. Do you really believe that by that time you'll be in your 7th month of pregnancy? Absolutely, I replied. 7 months along, carrying the life of your little one. I'm not implying we should create a spectacle or disrupt anything. We simply show up as requested, allow the reality to unfold on its own. James paused, lost in thought. This isn't about settling scores, is it? I pondered his question thoughtfully. Absolutely not. It's a tale of truthfulness. It's about me finally embracing my true self and pursuing my desires. It's a journey of us, you, me, and this little one embracing the brightness ahead. With that, he agreed without hesitation. As the months passed, my body took on a fuller shape and my bond with James blossomed. I found myself mentally gearing up for the wedding ahead. I found a dress that beautifully highlighted my pregnancy instead of concealing it, a deep blue silk that enveloped me in a sense of strength instead of embarrassment. James and I shared tales about boundaries. There are no clashes, no surprising truths unveiled. We would just be there sharing moments. The reality of our journey is clear in my rounded belly, and the way our fingers are woven together. How Mark chose to navigate that truth was entirely in his hands. In the serene moments leading up to the wedding, James chose to propose not with elaborate theatrics or loud proclamations, but in the intimate comfort of our new home. We had just taken the step of moving in together the month prior as the soft glow of moonlight danced across our bed. "I don't want to rush you," he said, the vintage sapphire ring sparkling in his grasp. "And I hope you understand that this isn't solely about the baby. My heart is full as I reflect on the joy we've shared over these past months, and I can't help but dream of a future together. For years, my heart has cherished you. My desire is to create a family with you, driven by love and intention, not by duty." Without a moment's pause, I agreed. As he gently placed the ring on my finger, a ring that was uniquely mine and not a remnant of another's love, I sensed the fragments of my shattered heart slowly coming together once more. We chose to keep our engagement under wraps until after Mark's wedding, not because we wanted to hide it, but to honor the occasion. This was not about stealing the spotlight or stirring up conflict. This was a tale of our journey ahead, mirroring the path he was taking in his own life. On the eve of the wedding, while I was preparing our overnight bag for the hotel, I noticed my reflection in the mirror. The woman gazing back at me was almost unrecognizable, not due to the changes brought on by pregnancy, but because of the newfound confidence shining in her eyes. The assurance. The tranquility. Are you prepared for what lies ahead? James approached from behind, enveloping me in his embrace, his hands gently resting on our blossoming child within. I reclined against him, our gazes locking in the reflection before us. Absolutely prepared, I declared. Fear no longer holds me back. And I wasn't there. For the first time in my life, I felt a sense of calm about being left behind, about my worth, and about what lies ahead, because I finally realized that what feels like a burden can often be the very catalyst for your liberation. The church was precisely the sort of setting Mark would select ancient stones and vibrant stained glass, create a captivating backdrop ideal for capturing unforgettable moments. As James assisted me out of the car, I sensed a gaze upon us. People recalled me as Mark's devoted partner, the one they all believed would ultimately take Vanessa's spot. There I stood with a noticeable bump leaning on the arm of Mark's old best buddy. "Are you all right?" James leaned in closer, his voice barely above a murmur, picking up on the unease that hung in the air. I grasped his hand tightly. "I'm doing well. Let's embark on this journey." We quietly settled into a pew near the rear, yet within a church of this magnitude, true concealment was elusive. As we stepped inside, I noticed Mark's mother pivot towards us, her eyes growing wide at the sight of my state. She had a warmth about her, often weaving in little suggestions about future generations. At last, her desire was unfolding, though not quite as she had envisioned. The ceremony unfolded with a grand display of tradition. As Vanessa glided toward Mark, her gown shimmered and her smile lit up the room, captivating everyone around her, and Mark, I couldn't help but notice, appeared to be in high spirits, excited yet a bit anxious. As they exchanged vows, a wave of tranquility washed over me, leaving behind any remnants of pain or longing, replaced instead by an unexpected sense of resolution. The man who vowed eternity to someone else was not the one I envisioned sharing my life with. That man was merely a figment of imagination. It was at the reception that the atmosphere transformed. James and I had discovered the table that was meant for us. Indeed, Mark had thoughtfully provided us with place cards, creating an atmosphere reminiscent of a classic dinner gathering. As Mark's mother came closer, Rebecca noticed her gaze darting between my face and my belly. As I glanced at her, I couldn't help but express my gratitude. "Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds," I said with a warm smile. "It's wonderful to see you." "I had no idea you were." She waved her hand in a vague motion towards my midsection. "Expecting. Indeed, it has been 7 months now." Her brow knitted together, revealing a mind deep in thought. 7 months. What a journey that could unfold. It had been 8 months since Mark walked away from my life. Just as the question began to take shape on her lips, Mark materialized beside her. "Mom, they need you," for his words faded as he looked at me, truly looked at me for the first time that day. His eyes widened, captivated by the curve of my pregnant belly. "Mark," I remarked with a sense of tranquility. "What a lovely ceremony it was. Well done." Words eluded him as his eyes flickered between my stomach and James, then returned to me. "You're asking how long?" "She's 7 months along." James replied, his arm wrapped protectively around my shoulders. I observed the moment of understanding illuminate Mark's expression. 7 months into our relationship, when he was still spending late nights at the office with Vanessa, he started to speak, hesitated, and then fell silent, clearly hesitant to voice his question in front of his mother. "James is the father," I murmured softly. Not from a place of shame, but from a deep respect for the atmosphere around us. This wasn't the setting for a dramatic tale. "We're filled with joy." Mrs. Reynolds let out a faint gasp. "I could really use a drink," she whispered, hurrying off into the distance. Mark lingered, his expression a rich tapestry of feelings. "How long?" he inquired, his voice heavy with emotion. "What was the duration of your relationship with James?" "Once upon a night," James recounted calmly, "while you were with Vanessa, although we were unaware of that back then." Mark recoiled. "Have you heard the tale about the little one?" "No announcement has been made," I replied. "Our purpose isn't to stir up trouble." "Mark, you welcomed us in." We arrived. He swept his fingers through his meticulously arranged hair. "I was surprised to learn about your pregnancy. Would it have made a difference?" I inquired. Just as he was about to respond, Vanessa materialized beside him, radiant in her white attire, her hand firmly resting on his arm. "Is everything all right, dear? They've requested us to take the floor for the inaugural dance." Her gaze shifted towards me, then to my round belly, and finally to James. I witnessed a journey from bewilderment to gradual clarity. "You must be Rebecca," she said, extending her hand with an air of familiarity and grace. "Greetings, I'm Vanessa. I'm grateful for your presence today. It holds great significance for Mark that we can all be polite." I grasped her hand firmly, appreciating her calm demeanor, while my mind raced with questions about what she truly understood regarding the conclusion of Mark's and my connection. "Heartfelt congratulations," I expressed with genuine warmth. "Your beauty shines through as you step into this new chapter of your life." Mark's gaze remained fixed on my stomach, as though it held a secret ready to burst forth. "We should go," he urged Vanessa, his voice laced with tension for the dance. As they strolled away, I caught a glimpse of him bending down to share a secret with her, a moment filled with intrigue. Her step wavered for a moment, a brief hesitation before she found her balance once more. James whispered, "I believe we've just shaken the very foundation of his ideal existence." "I didn't mean to." I responded, and I truly felt that way. I arrived with no intention of causing him pain. In that moment, James pressed his lips gently against my temple. "That's one of the reasons I cherish you." As we sat down for dinner, an unmistakable sensation washed over me. It was as if unseen gazes were weaving through the air, observing us from every corner. Mark's family, our mutual friends, and Mark himself, who kept stealing glances in our direction from the head table. I immersed myself in the simple pleasures of dining, sharing soft-spoken moments with James, and savoring the gentle reminders of our little one stirring within me as the cake was being cut. Mark made his way back to our table, this time without anyone by his side. "Can we talk?" he inquired, his gaze fixed on me in a personal setting. James tightened his muscles next to me. "You can share anything with Rebecca while I'm here." Mark's jaw clenched. "Just 5 more minutes," I said, gently squeezing James's hand to offer comfort. "Don't worry, I'll return shortly." Mark guided me to a cozy little space just beside the main reception hall. As the door clicked shut, he pivoted to meet my gaze, his face a canvas of unfiltered emotion. "Why didn't you share that with me?" he insisted. "What about the little one?" "What would be the reason for that?" I responded. "You had departed. Once upon a time, you found yourself in the company of Vanessa. The little one doesn't belong to you, but it unfolded during our time together," he exclaimed, his voice growing louder. "During our time together, you shared an intimate moment with my closest friend." A wave of guilt and indignation washed over me. Indeed, I did. "There was a time when you had been sharing nights with Vanessa for months, a period during which your heart had drifted away from our bond, yet you hadn't found the words to express it to me." In that moment, he flinched. "That's not quite the same, is it?" I moved in a little nearer. "You're not upset about the treachery, Mark. Your frustration stems from the belief that I was at home longing for you while you continued on with your life. Your frustration stems from the fact that I've discovered joy in my life beyond our time together." With James, he spoke the name lingering unpleasantly on his tongue among everyone. Absolutely, with James by my side, who has supported me through every doctor's appointment, every late-night craving, and every precious moment of this journey. Who asked for my hand because of his genuine love for me, not out of a sense of duty. Mark's eyes sparkled with wonder. "So you're getting married?" I raised my left hand, the sapphire glimmering as it caught the light. "We exist." He gazed at the ring, then turned his eyes to me, a look of awe beginning to bloom on his face. "It seems you've truly turned the page." "Indeed." I mentioned it straightforwardly. "I have experienced many things." As the fury faded away, it was as if a shadow of remorse took its place, casting a different light on his expression. "Once upon a time, my heart was yours." "Rebecca, once upon a time, I understand that you did, yet it falls short. This isn't the correct path." A gentle flutter beneath my hand reminded me of the little life growing inside me. Each kick a tiny story waiting to be told. I ought to reach out to James. As I was about to walk away, Mark's voice reached out to me once more. "Do you find joy in your life? Truly joyful?" I took a moment, glancing over my shoulder at him. "Indeed I am." As I made my way back to the man who had become my destiny, a profound realization washed over me. The truest words I have ever spoken. 3 months after Mark and Vanessa tied the knot, our daughter made her grand entrance into the world following an intense 18 hours of labor. Once upon a time, there was a name that carried a sense of elegance and charm: Emma Grace. 7 pounds 4 ounces of sheer delight, with hands that shook and tears cascading down his cheeks. James severed the cord as she was laid upon my chest, her small form radiating warmth against my skin. I sensed a profound connection solidify within me, a feeling of assurance, a truth that was entirely new to me. "She's beautiful," James whispered, his finger ensnared in Emma's unexpectedly firm grasp, reminiscent of her mother. We welcomed her into the home we had purchased together, a charming Victorian fixer-upper with solid foundations and a backyard just right for future swing sets. James embraced his paternity leave, determined to savor every fleeting moment of those invaluable early weeks. The arrival of Emma was a tale that wove its way through our intertwined social circles, capturing the attention of many. The flowers have made their grand entrance. Friends came over to share moments together. My sister almost took up residence during that first week, whipping up meals and tackling the laundry as James and I found our way through the haze of new parenthood. As I cradled Emma in our sun-drenched nursery, a message popped up from a number that had faded from my memory over the months. Mark, I heard the news about the little one warmest. Congratulations to you both. She has a wonderful blessing in you as her parents, clear and heartfelt. I shared it with James, who perused it with a look of surprise. Once upon a time, he remarked with unexpected wisdom. I gazed down at our daughter's face as she nursed a moment filled with warmth and connection. Individuals have a way of revealing unexpected facets of themselves, and they were able to. Once upon a time, Mark and Vanessa embarked on a new adventure. Relocating to the vibrant city of Chicago for her career, a new chapter unfolds for each of them. As shared by our mutual friends, there was a sense of joy surrounding them. I wished he had taken something away from our time together, just as I had. The day of the baptism arrived, marking a special moment when Emma was just 4 months old. We had selected my sister and James's brother to take on the special role of guiding our child's spiritual journey. The church brimmed with loved ones and cherished companions. The spring sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows, creating vibrant patterns on Emma's white christening gown, a cherished piece that had been worn by my grandmother, my mother, and me. As I stood at the altar beside James, our daughter nestled between us, I noticed unexpected guests quietly entering the back row just as the service commenced. Once upon a time, there were 2 individuals named Mark and Vanessa. They were returning to town for the weekend, as noted on the card that came with the small silver rattle they had sent as a gift. Their presence felt like a quiet whisper in the background, unbothered and serene. It seemed as though a chapter had come to a satisfying conclusion. As the priest poured water over Emma's head, her startled cry echoing through the church, I turned to look at Mark. In that bustling room, our gazes locked, weaving an unspoken connection amidst the throng of people. He nodded once, a silent testament to understanding a moment of recognition. I returned the nod. Following the ceremony, they came toward us with a sense of hesitation, with a sparkle of sincerity in her voice. Vanessa remarked on Emma's beauty as she gazed at her, nestled in James's embrace. Would you care to embrace her? To my own astonishment, I made the offer. Vanessa's eyes sparkled with wonder. Is that so? I nodded, and with great care, James placed our daughter into her embrace. Vanessa held Emma close, her gentle whispers creating a soothing atmosphere. Mark lingered next to her, gently brushing his finger against Emma's delicate hand. James took note of your innate qualities, thinking about starting a family. A fleeting shadow danced across Mark's face, yet Vanessa's smile held its ground, unwavering and bright. One day, she whispered, at this moment, our attention is directed towards professional journeys. As they returned Emma to us, Mark's gaze locked with mine once more. It seems like joy is radiating from you, Rebecca. I declared and felt it resonate through every part of my soul. As the night deepened and the festivities faded into memory, I found myself in the nursery, gazing at Emma as she peacefully slumbered, as I felt the warmth of James approaching. He enveloped me in a gentle embrace, his arms finding their way around my waist. Do you have any tales of missed opportunities? He inquired gently. I reclined against him, pondering the inquiry. Did I wish away the suffering? Ah, the treachery that unfolds. What about the tears? Did I look back with remorse on that fateful night that transformed everything, the evening spent with James that brought our daughter into the world? Did I look back with any sense of remorse over the time I shared with Mark? Years that now felt like the groundwork for the life I was destined to embrace. No, I said at last. Every choice has its tale. Only appreciation. Every step of the journey, including the difficult ones, had woven together to bring me to this moment, to this place of warmth and memories, to this individual, for this little one, to this version of myself who embodies strength, compassion, and authenticity like never before. At times, the most profound scars pave the way for the most remarkable recovery. At times, the sting of betrayal can open doors to unforeseen gifts. At times, what appears to be a conclusion is in fact the most exquisite start. And occasionally, just occasionally, life presents you with precisely what you require, rather than what you believed you desired in the quiet of the night. Emma shifted in her crib, her delicate fingers gently moving as she dreamt. James and I stood there observing her with a quiet sense of satisfaction, united in a bond that felt deeply authentic. Not due to documents or vows, but because we selected one another time and again amidst shadows and brilliance. In that moment, I understood that it was the ultimate form of retribution, not the kind that tears down, but the kind that creates and nurtures. Not suffering, repaid with suffering, but happiness born from the remnants. The gentle victory of embracing life, fully cherishing connections, and progressing with an open heart. Ultimately, I had done more than merely endure. I had thrived.